Hi, my name's Phil and I'm from Warehouse Mowers. In this short video, I'm going to give you the top 5 maintenance tips for brush cutters or grass trimmers. And in this example, I'm actually going to use the Shindao T230, but it doesn't matter what brand, it's just a type of machine. It's all very similar. So first up, number 1 is keeping the dirt and dust off the engine. So giving it a blow down and removing the dirt and dust. Dirt and dust is an insulator, so what that means is your machine's going to run hot, and so if it's running hot, it's wearing out quicker, so it's not going to last you as long. So when you're blowing out the dirt and dust, give it a blow around. Always safety first, so whenever we use a machine, we always remove the spark plug boot off the spark plug, and there's no chance of the machine starting. So you've blown around the outside there. Even take the engine cover off, because you'll find that with the engine cover that the dust and dirt builds up underneath, and it will get in and under in your cover there, so clear the dirt and dust out of there. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to clean your air filter. Now there's 2 types of air filters. You've got a fibre air filters, and there's foam air filters. So this particular one here. So clean out in the air filter cover and clean the air filter itself. These fibre ones, this one you can actually wash out in hot soapy water and make sure it dries before you put it back in. Or as an alternative, you can actually, once this one's dirty and used, you can get rid of it, and you can actually get a foam one. Foam ones, we actually wash out. You can wash those out in your 2-stroke mix. Just remember that, because in your 2-stroke mix, because it just leaves a little bit of oil residue, the 2-stroke oil stays on the foam and helps with that fine dust, keeping that fine dust out of your engine. So there you go, and clean out in the air filter body as well. Make sure when you're blowing it out that you put the choke on. You put the choke on that then covers the air intake into the engine, so and you won't get any dust and dirt in there. So that's the air filter. That's number 2. Number 3, on models that have working parts at the top of the carburetor, these are called throttle valves. It is very important that you keep the dust and dirt from building up, so it doesn't restrict the movement. You'll find if you pull the throttle on, you'll see that the throttle valves move. In these types, as I said, very important that you keep the dirt and dust from building up, because it restricts the movement, and dust and dirt wears like sandpaper. So it will actually wear those parts, and things like sticking throttle or the throttle not going on or off as smoothly will be signs that dirt and dust is wearing that throttle valve, and eventually it'll need to be replaced. So make sure that your dust and dirt is off the carburetor, and you can also, while you're doing that, again with the engine, going back over the engine, keeping the dirt and dust off the engine, you can also make sure you keep it off the air intake slots there inside, which are just below the carburetor. Keep the dust and dirt from building up in there. So that's number 3, clean around your carburetor, and especially the top of the carburetor where the throttle valve is. Number 4, the spark plug. Make sure that you check your spark plug every so often, especially if you've been using it through extreme heat or hot times. The spark plug will be running hotter, so therefore it'll be wearing hotter. At least for small hour usage, at least change your spark plug once a year. For high usage, more often than that. So you'll see if you take your spark plug out and it's not clean, either clean it, or if it's worn, then replace it, or if it's really dirty, then replace it as well. So that's tip number 4. Tip number 5 is in your tank, there is a fuel line that goes in, and at the bottom of that fuel line there is a filter. So that's an in-tank fuel filter. Now, over time, actually the in-tank fuel filter, its job is to keep dust and dirt and contaminants out of, straying them out of the fuel as it goes, before it goes into the carburetor and then into the engine. So over time, as it removes the dust and dirt and contaminants, it actually starts to clog up. So it restricts the fuel flow, and this then restricts the performance of your machine. So over time, again, it's good just to replace them. Some of them you can clean out, but in general, if you just replace those, that's the best idea. So that's tip number 5. And just another tip to finish, with your bump head, if especially with these types, the speed feed bump heads, if you're finding it hard and you're bumping it and the line isn't feeding out, then it would be to do with there's string or debris that's been caught up in underneath the top lid, so it won't move. So if you're testing that and it won't move, then it's got line or debris up in underneath the cap. Basically, way to fix that is to remove your, not the cap, but remove the unit, the actual bump head from the gear head, and then take the cap off and then clear the debris underneath there, put the lid back on at the top and there, and then put it back on again, and again making sure that it moves freely, so then it'll bump, then it will, when you bump it will actually feed the line out. So there you have it. That's the 5 top maintenance tips, plus 1, for looking after your brush cutter or grass trimmer. If you'd like to know any more about this or any other machines, you can check us out on www.warehousemowers.com.au. Give us a call, 1300 466 694, or come on in. We'll have more tips and features on other machines soon, so we'll talk to you then.